Hello, and welcome to another edition of All or Nada According to Jack with your host, Jack Toledano. And I am not coming to you from the great Sacandaga Lake. This is a background of a picture that I had taken, but I am still down on dreary Long Island where it just freaking stopped raining after about 3 days. And my guest is Ove Rendum. How you doing, Ove?
I'm doing really good, really good. It's good to be here and talk with you now because outside here it's been snowing now the last couple of days. It's not like it's snow that's in the morning that will disappear in the evening, but it's like still
Oh, wow. Hmm.
good to be inside.
No, I forgot what that's like. We've had about 2 inches here on the island this year, and everybody's
Wow.
complaining about the rain. But you know what? It's been raining, but it's been about 55, 60 degrees here, so can't complain. And,
Oh,
and
that
I don't have
sounds
to run my
really
air
good.
conditioner, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's nice and comfortable. So,
Yeah, we got heat pumps really in Norway. We use heat pumps that in the summertime we just flip over to cool pumps.
oh, interesting. Okay. So, Ove, some time ago, I had done some videos about Jethro Tull, in addition to videos that I've done with Pete Pardo on Jethro Tull. And Ove took an interest, and I like to think that I got Ove to take an even bigger interest. So what I did was I invited
Most
Ove
definitely.
to talk about this album that Jethro Tull just released on Friday. No,
Yeah.
a week ago Friday. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we do that, I just have a couple of news items. So we lost a couple rockers, and I wasn't even aware of this. So Friday we lost Tim Bachman of Bachman Turner Overdrive. So rest in peace, Tim Bachman. That's a great loss. I loved their music from the '70s, and taking care of business. You ain't seen nothing yet, etc., etc. Big loss. So you know, so another rock and roll heaven has claimed another. And then just this morning, I heard that Gordon Lightfoot, another fellow Canadian like Tim Bachman, um, uh, we found out that he passed away. I guess either last night or early this morning. So anybody, it's a great loss. Anybody, he gave hope to basically all of us that have baritone voices that we could all make it in the music industry. Not have to be able to sing like the Bee Gees did. So that's that. And Ove, this is for you. So in the world of hockey, unfortunately, both my New York teams have been eliminated, New York Islanders and the New York Rangers, but your team is still in it,
Yes.
Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know this, but I just thought about this the other day when I was going through my cupboards for a coffee cup. I had bought this some years ago when I went on a business trip to Toronto. And I basically bought this in the Toronto airport as one of those last minute souvenirs. But
Very nice. Very nice.
yeah, great little
Toronto
souvenir.
make us believe.
What's that? Yeah. Well,
Toronto make us believe. Believe.
yes. Well, I
But
heard
yeah,
it's like the first time since 2004 that they won a series.
yeah, it took quite a while, and I just got into them. I just got into hockey, believe it or not, a couple of years ago during the pandemic, and I think there's a few like good things that came out of the pandemic because you had the time to diverge into a lot of stuff and kind of people sitting home and like talking and stuff. So it got me interested in hockey and
Yeah.
in like baseball and yeah. So
Well,
yeah, Toronto
figures.
Maple Leafs got introduced to me by a friend in US that I liked them before, and you got Matthews, and you got like Mitchell Marner, that which is my favorite, and there's a lot of good players there now. So it took out the lightning in the bottle. It took him out.
Yeah. Well, figures. My team only seems to be able to win in empty arenas. So that's the Islanders.
The interesting thing, though, I see on the forums now that the Florida Panthers are denying Toronto Maple Leafs fans of buying tickets for their home games.
Why is that? Really? That's
I don't know. There's a big fuss about it.
That's BS. Yeah, that doesn't matter. It may
Disgrace.
not help them. They got past the Bruins, which I can't believe, but
That was an upset that I
yeah,
couldn't believe because
epic
they had the
proportion.
best series ever, didn't they?
I don't know much about the Bruins, only that they were supposed to win it all.
Well,
But
they had a giant score. I think they had the highest score they ever had.
uh-huh.
I gotta check here, please. But it's yeah, they were like really like the big favorites in our what's it called, fraction or division.
Right. All right.
Try to see now, NHL, and of course I'm on the wrong thing. Standings here. The Burrows had 135 points.
You just never know. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's
I'm still smarting from last year's baseball National League playoff results, but we could talk about that at another time. But
yeah. Panthers had
better.
only 92.
Well, all I can say is thank God when when our teams disappoint us, there's always rock and roll. That never
Yeah, yeah.
disappoints. So uh Jethro Tull, RokFlote. Do you have your copy? Did you buy it?
I was hoping of having my copy because I have the deluxe edition and the green vinyl. There's a
Oh,
different
okay.
vinyls too, but it's stuck in the mail, of course. So it's kind of
All right.
it's very good thing that you got yours.
No worries. So, as I mentioned in the Metallica review the other day, so I got this at the same place, and the guy he showed it to me on a Thursday, but told me that he could not sell it to me for fear that he would get in trouble with the record distributors. So I had to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back that Friday morning. He sold it to me. It's a nice little package. Much easier to open than the damn Metallica CD. So
yeah.
this is all it
That felt
is.
like a puzzle.
Yep. So let's take that out. Of course, there's Ian looking stern and resolute.
Yeah, he's getting close to 80, isn't he?
Yeah,
Or is he
something like
75?
that. Yeah. And it's your basic package. It's the CD, got all the members. We'll talk about
Yeah,
them in a second. Uh, Track listing on the back. You can see that.
yeah. I
Uh,
really like the package and like the cover. It's kind of very simple, but yet so effective.
yeah, no, I like this little symbol. It looks like a devil playing the flute. But
Yeah,
okay, so this picture right here, this is basically this is like page 4 or 5. These are all the members of Jethro Tull. Actually, before we dive into that, what I'm going to do is share really quick. And basically what you have here is you have your timeline of Jethro Tull members. So only Ian has been here from the very beginning, 1968 onward. You had Martin
yeah,
Barr, longtime guitarist, but he left. Florian Opal was here through the last album. What the heck was that album called? I'm drawing a blank, but it'll come back to me. And Joe Parrish on that last album, he did basically played on one song. He's the current guitarist now. Andrew Gidding, no, John O'Hara on the keyboards, Jonathan Noyce, bass guitar, Scott Hammond. There you have it. He's on the drums. So, wow, that's a hell of a lot of different membership changes. So, for
that's
keyboards,
probably
John
that's
Evans, Dee Palmer, Eddie Jobson, Peter Vatisse, Martin Adcock, Andrew Gidding, bassist Glenn Corning, my favorite, Jeffrey Hammond, John Glasscock, but you get the picture. You know, as opposed
Yeah,
to
I was thinking maybe he has been smart because he's been changing members pretty often, and he's still in, but he's still in the game. So maybe he has brought fresh sounds by new
right,
members along the way.
right, understood. But my only concern is the fact that you know what had a great lineup here in the '70s that got broken up. I don't know if it was Ian who did it or just the fact that the record company did it. But around the time they did the album A, there was kind of a mix up, and it was originally going to be a Jethro Tull, or no, rather an Ian Anderson solo album. And what happened was, you know, some of the members went on to other projects. You had drummer Barrymore Barlow, who was upset of Ian's treatment of John Glasscock towards the end. Um, so, without getting into too much detail about that, I'm just trying to, oh, that's what it is. So I'll stop sharing. Anybody wants to see this in further detail, you can either find it on, uh, what is that, Wikipedia, or you can
Hmm.
pause the screen, check it out. Okay, so the last album was called The Zealot Gene. So while I
Yeah,
was playing around, that's the beauty of live recordings that sometimes you forget shit. But
gotta do
anyway,
a shout out. Gotta do a shout out to what's his name? Uh, the Scottish guy that's with us. What's his name? Davey.
Dave Peg.
Um, I don't recall his name now, but he called it the Jelly Gene.
Oh, okay. All
He
right.
did. And they find it really a kind of soft album.
Right. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much more about this, but so basically, you have your liner notes here. Uh, the forward about RokFlote. It's all about how it's basically talking about Norse mythology. It's kind of like what I consider a loose concept album. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
I read through it earlier today, but there's just too much to talk about. Uh, then there's like a track outline for each song. Again, I'm not going to get to that. There's lots of reading material. Give you some idea about what each song is. I can tell you songs 1 and 12, Voluspo and Ithaval. So basically, he had a singer, Unar Berna, and basically my understanding is she is from Reykjavik, Iceland. So
hmm, correct.
she's stating these poetic passages in Old Icelandic. So
Yeah, it's basically it's like the Vikings did speak. It's
right,
Hovamore. It's called. It's yeah. So that's pretty cool for me to hear because there's certain words that still are in our language that I understand. So
right,
it's really fun. This album is really good for us Scandinavians.
right. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about so towards the back there's what they call notes on the making of the album, and I'm going to read you the third paragraph only. So the writing began with a vague idea of dipping in. First of all, I may need to get my glasses checked because this print is so small I can barely read it.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
So
great up
anyway,
on black.
yeah. So the writing began with a vague idea of dipping into the world of polytheistic fates and with the music focused more on the flute under the working title of RokFlote. And by the end of February, I had the first rough demos for the band and all of the lyrics pretty much finalized. The nature of the lyrical material, owing much to the poetic Edda of Icelandic medieval history, gave me the opportunity to explore the roots of Norse mythology derived from Germanic folklore and the origins of the old Greco-Roman gods. So RokFlote it became. So a lot of good reading material. So if and when you pick this up, get your reading glasses out and read away. Another nice picture of Ian. And at the end, this is a really nice picture. This looks like this could have come from Iceland, this picture in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the title of the album, RokFlote, it means basically smoke flute.
Right. So, yes. So in any event, let's talk about the songs themselves.
Oh yeah.
And you have listened, correct?
Yeah, I have all songs written down and how, like, from 1 to 5, and so I've started from 1 to all the way down.
Okay,
Like,
sure. So
yeah,
so and just a reminder to everybody, what I did was I rated these songs on a scale of 1 to 5 stars each.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
what
same
I
as me.
did was at the end I took an average of all the songs, and basically I was able to come out up with the total amount of stars for the album. So
Yeah,
Velospo, very whimsical beginning. And as I mentioned, female narration to suggest a historical fantasy tale, or in this case, Norse mythology. And and I wrote some of these notes down before I actually read the liner notes. But the female vocalist Unar Berna, who basically spoken word. So that as soon as she started to speak, that this was going to be some otherworldly album, not just an ordinary drop the record down and put the needle down and spin it, kind of like War Child or Too Old to Rock and Roll, one of those albums. So
yeah.
Veluspa. Oh, and then there was some spoken word by Ian as well. Veluspa I
At the
gave
end,
3.5 stars. So
yeah.
go ahead.
For my number one, the number one, it's in Håvamål, it's in old Viking language, and it's the words of Odin, the High One. It tells the story of creation of the world and its coming and subsequent rebirth related
What was the name of
to
the song again?
I can't pronounce it, but that's what I said now
Okay,
is
what
basically
song
what
number? What song number?
that's the first one you talked about now, the
Oh,
same one.
Veluspa. Okay.
But all that stuff, the title of the song is about Odin and what he made, and it's about rebirth and about the coming of worlds, and it's basically they start a creation of Earth.
Okay.
So
All
it
right.
was very interesting for me too. I even learned something about Norse mythology from this, so it was really cool. I gave it 5 out of 5 because I think it set me in such a perfect mood for the album. It's like it's mystical. It's kind of like you can't wait what's next on the album after this.
Okay. So next we have Yeah, and some of these are hard to pronounce. Jinun Gagap. Uh, I stated that it's very instrumentally sound. Uh, Vocals sound a bit better as well. That's going to be a theme of this album for me. I think Ian's vocals have gotten better for this album. I don't know if he used studio tricks or what the case may be, but definitely I think it was an improvement of his voice over the Zealot gene and his solo album Homo Eroticus, which came out in 2014. So uh, Jinun Gagoop, I gave 4.25 stars. All Father, third song, also 4.25. Chorus of flutes sounds very nice. Nice recent folk rock sound. So back to you.
Yeah, the song number 2, Jin Unga Gap. It's Håvamål for the gaping abyss or the yawning void.
Okay.
It's the meaning of the word. And I gave it 5 out of 5 because it has such a good flute. The flute is so kind of spellbinding. It's so good to listen to. I mean, and the whole vibe is. I think this song could probably be given out in the 70s, and you could know the difference if it was. It's kind of a timeless vibe to it.
Okay.
But the title itself, it has a meaning. It's from the Norse mythology, so it's not a made up word.
Right.
I gave it 5 out of 5.
Okay. So then the third song, finally something in English, All Father. What do you
Yeah,
think of that one?
All Father is Odin. All Father Odin. That's
Okay.
about Odin too. It's a good song, but that's a song I gave 3 out of 5 because I felt the magic and the kind of the grandiose things from the first song and the very good flute melody of the second one kind of didn't transfer into the third song. The third song kind of flattened out the waves in a way for me, so I gave it 3 out of 5.
Okay. Interesting. I gave that one 4.25. Okay, so the next one, the Feathered Consort. I don't really have any notes on that. Probably the only
I
song
have
I didn't have any notes on, but I gave it 3.75 stars. How about you?
yeah. The Feathered Consort is her. It's a goddess, and her name is Skald, and she's a Jotun, like Loki,
Right.
and she's a goddess also associated with bow hunting and skiing. We all often refer to her as the ski god.
Interesting.
So
Wow.
I gave that song 5 out of 5.
Wow. Wow. Dan,
Yeah,
you're really
it's
liking this, huh?
yeah, that song. This song really took to me, and I didn't notice about the that he was referring to her. So for me, it was really interesting too.
Okay. So next one, Hammer on Hammer. I gave that 3.75. My notes on this one sounds a bit familiar to Ian's other recent albums, either Tull or solo. So uh, you talk about so two that I have in mind. Thick as a Brick 2, Homo eroticus. So Thick as a Brick 2 came out in 2012. Homo
Okay.
eroticus in 2014. Zelagene last year. So again, I might have scored it a little bit higher, but again, it sounded a little too familiar, like maybe some of the riffs were being recycled, similar to what some of us have said about Metallica. So yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But
Right.
your thoughts on Hammer and Hammer?
I gave it 3 out of 5. Me too. I felt like it was a basic idea, and I thought that when I saw the title, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic. But the song is kind of like the previous or the song number 3 for me, the Old Father one. It's
Yeah,
kind of interlude in a
yeah,
way.
right.
It's not really a song, it's more like an interlude, but it's maybe a part of his concept that I'm not aware of yet.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll talk about this album as a whole as compared to some of his other output, but moving along, so you have Wolf Unchained. So it's this is a nice one. I scored it 4 out of 5. A bit more hard rock in this one. Uh, nice that it's mixed in with his more familiar folk rock sound. But right before we started with this recording, Ove, I listened to it again. And I don't know if you know, there's a lawsuit going on in the States here right now. There's a guy named Ed Sheeran. He's a British singer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's been accused of plagiarizing a song by the great Marvin Gaye. Uh, he is a rhythm and blues artist from the early 70s, and he had this great song, "Let's Get It On," and
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
Ed Sheeran has been accused of plagiarizing this song by because the chord progression sounds very similar. So, but in listening to Wolf Unchained, I'm listening. It's like the beat's going, so I'm like, wait a second, that sounds awfully like the Cars "You're All I Got Tonight." I mean, if you listen very carefully to that underlying beat, I'm like, and I don't mean to stir anything up, but but before I thought of that, I mean, I'll stay with my 4 stars. It's a good song. I mean, I was hoping for a little bit more hard rock. So, all right, your thoughts on Wolf Unchained?
Wolf Unchained, I gave 5 out of 5, and Wolf Unchained is Fenrir. It's one of Loki's children.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Fenris wolf. You got the Midgar worm, and you got Hel, his daughter, that got half face. That protects the gates down to hell. But Wolf Unchained, I really liked it. It's my favorite song. I've listened to it, and it's really cool because really like Fenrir. The Fenris wolf is probably one of my favorite creatures in the mythology. So that song hit right home.
Okay. So next one, the perfect one. Uh, for me, sounds a little bit like Thick as a Brick too, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say that of all Ian Anderson's work from 2012 forward, that probably has to be my favorite album, Thick as a Brick 2. I absolutely love that concept. I loved the fact that, it was a takeoff on Thick as a Brick 1, and I saw that concert, which was phenomenal. But Perfect One sounds a little like that. You know, this and the previous, Wolf Unchained, both sounded like they could have been, outtakes from Thick as a Brick 2. But this one I gave 4 stars again. Your thoughts?
The perfect one it's Odin again. Odin is looked upon as the perfect one, the creator of things, and
Mhm.
it's my second favorite song on the album, and it's a 5 out of 5 too.
Very good.
So I gotta
Okay.
check out this Thick as a Brick Part 2.
Okay. Uh, and I will say, Ove, I appreciate the fact that you're talking about the more of the conceptual stuff, which concepts aren't really my thing. So I was just focusing on the music. So I appreciate that you're talking about more of the concept part of each song. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I really like it for me because I've seen a couple of reviews, and it's like they haven't really gotten into this, but since it's my home heritage, it's my heritage we're talking about, it came kind of natural for me to bring it to the table.
Okay, very cool. So the next song, and I know you when you texted me, you asked me what my favorite songs on the album were. So actually, this next one is my favorite, Trickster and the Mistletoe. This is one that I really like, has a really nice gallop. I love the keyboards and the accordion are a very nice touch in this song. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5. So,
Yeah, the trickster and the mistletoe is kind of an interesting thing because this is kind of a big story in the Norse mythology because this is about Loki. Loki, he fooled Hood, or HOD, to kill his Hood is blind. So Loki fooled him to kill his brother Balder.
oh, okay.
And the only way to kill Balder, because Balder was kind of a immortal one, he's pretty big in the mythology, but the only way to kill him is to shoot him with an arrow made out of mistletoe.
Interesting. Wow.
That's the only thing that can kill him.
In-
So that's
Very
that's that's why Ian has made it the trickster and the mistletoe, because it's kind of a good thing because it's a big story he has gotten into that song. So that was really interesting for me. I
right.
gave it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. All right. So the next one, I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's a mellow song, similar to some of Ian and Jethro Tull's earlier uh, mellow songs. Cornucopia, I gave that 4 out of 5. Navigator, um, the Navigators, basically that's the lead single of the album. Uh, Sounds a bit familiar to Ian's other recent albums, i.e., Homo Eroticus. Another thing that I noticed on my most recent listen and I was listening with my headphones on, and the bass, I don't know if you caught it, but the bass sounds a bit fuzzy at times. I was wondering if it was a mixing issue or if it was intentional, but it's like every note he was in, he was like, "Zzz, zzz." Yeah. Did you notice that
Uh,
on the
I
bass?
really didn't think about it, but if I know Ian right, it's probably meant to be there.
Okay.
But 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 like because the way you have talked about him over the course of the last year, you have talked about him in a such a way that he's a perfectionist. He's really into his art. So that's what
Right.
it strikes me, that he wouldn't
That's
let something that slip through.
that's why I thought that was a little odd, but everybody out there, let me know what you think when you listen to it. So, did you have any other thoughts about Cornucopia or the Navigators?
Cornucopia, does Black Sabbath have a song like that on Volume 4?
No, that's the name of the song, Cornucopia. That's song number 9. And if you
Yeah,
look,
but I thought Black Sabbath had a song called the same
yeah, well,
on
this is
Volume
very
4.
different because this was the mellow track on this
Yeah,
album.
yeah.
But
And it's also history. It's called a horn of the horn of plenty, featuring in many different historic texts.
mhm,
And it's kind of it's a horn with a lot of like flowers and food and a lot of stuff in it. So it's a historic thing too. I gave it 3 out of 5. It's one of those interlude songs again between the rockers, I guess.
right,
And the Navigators is a homage to the Vikings' famous abilities at sea, because we were peers in the sea.
right.
So we were one of the best navigators. So I gave that one 4 out of 5 because it has a good upbeat, it's a good tempo, and the music video. I don't know if you've seen the music video, but I find that really cool too. So that probably helped a bit.
Okay, very nice. Actually, I didn't see the video. I'll have to check that out. Okay, so the last two, Guardian's Watch, I gave
Mhm.
that 4 1/4. Very nice flute intro, very folksy. I basically that, this flute playing throughout the song, is what I like the best. Yeah. Uh, the last track, Ithavol, again, uh, the female singer from Reykjavik, Iceland. Uh, I was going to ask you what she was saying, but it's
Oh, I got it. That's got to translate it because she speaks in ancient tongue. So
yeah, well, fortunately, we do have it in here, so let's see if I can find it.
nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
you
yeah.
can maybe you can learn maybe you can learn me something about Norse mythology.
So basically, what she's saying is, um, now do I see the earth anew, rise all green from the waves again, the cataracts full and the eagles flies, and catches fish beneath the cliffs. The gods in Ithaval meet together in wondrous beauty once again. Shall golden tables stand mid the grass, which the gods have owned in the days of old? That's it in a nutshell. Uh,
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it.
so what I gave that one 3 3/4 out of 5.
Yeah, the Guardian's Watch I really liked. I wish that would probably been a single over Hammer on Hammer. I like this one better than Hammer on Hammer, and I feel it kind of it has a more it's more progressive in a way with the other 2 songs. I found like the first song really good, Navigators really good, and Hammer kind of took a little dive for me. So, but I gave it 4 out of 5. The Guardian's Watch, and Guardian's Watch is probably a reference to Heimdall, because Heimdall is the seer,
Right.
like that protects things.
And how about it?
And
Oh,
Innerwall, it's Old Norse. It's a location referred to twice. It's a poem from Poetic Edda. It's a place where the meeting of the gods, where the gods meet and sit around the table and discuss what they are supposed to do with the rules. And because there's many rules in Norse mythology.
Okay,
And
so
I gave it a 5 out of 5 as it's my third favorite on the album.
okay. And okay, so overall, the on this album, Rock Flute, what would you give that? What's your overall rating?
I will give it a strong 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5? Really not higher? Considering the fact that you had a bunch that were 5 stars?
Yeah, I have. Well, I can go straight through it again.
Yeah,
Maybe I should give it a 4.5 out of 5 then, because
yeah.
it's 5, 5, 5, 3, 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5,
Okay,
5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, and 4, 5, and 5, 5. So 4.5 out of 5 stars then.
okay. That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
because as for me, I give it 4 out of 5 stars, which is actually, I think, a good rating. Because, and this is an improvement, I think, over the Zealot Gene. So overall, I like the fact that the album's concise, nothing over 5 minutes. The whole album in itself is 45 minutes long, so it's easier to digest. I have no quarrel with, I think the instrumentation is great. Again,
Hmm.
we had a change in guitarist, in new guitarist in the fold. What's his name? Joe Parrish James. Good job. Of course,
And
I
he's
would have
pretty
preferred
young,
to
I
have,
believe.
what's that?
He's pretty young, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I would prefer to have Martin Barr, you know, but can't always get what you want, right? Uh,
No.
what else? So what drags it down for me just a little bit is the fact that it just sounds a little too like the other albums that I mentioned. Homo Eroticus, uh, the last one, Zealot Gene, Thick as a Brick too. Whereas if you look at the albums of the 70s as a whole, they were their own unique animal. And that's what I loved about them. It's like he gave you something different every year. So like Aqualung didn't sound anything like say War Child or Minstrel in the Gallery or Songs from the Wood. They all sounded different, and that's kind of what I was hoping for. But in this day and age, I'm happy that we got something at all. So nice go.
Yeah. I believe, did you say that you got tickets for his live show in the fall?
Not yet, but I plan on. I'd like to get it. Supposedly he's coming to the capital area, New York's capital area of Albany on November 4th, and I believe that's actually the last show, and would like to go see that. So,
Yeah, because that'd be cool, because I would like to hear an episode like of a concert review of that.
but if I can get there,
Yeah.
you'll hear it. Yeah, and I forget. One of our Sea of Tranquility brothers said he was going to be there. Eric, I forget his last name, but he said he might be there. So hopefully, maybe we'll meet up. Maybe we'll talk about it. Who knows who else might show up, but
Maybe you can fool Chris Allo to go. That would be a funny concert review with you two together afterwards.
well, speaking of Chris Allo, I know Chris Allo is a big metal guy, and so back in the day, was it 1989 or 1990
Yep.
when they had the great debate about the who should win the Grammy? Well,
Yeah, yeah, 89. Yeah.
well, I can tell you in this battle, Jethro Tull wins again.
Yeah.
So this is the last time I'll be holding this. Congratulations to Drum Dude 74 on winning this. So hopefully I'll get
Oh, yeah.
around to him.
I didn't see who won it, so that's cool.
Yeah, you were close, but he did beat you out, buddy. Sorry.
I put in my birth date.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except it would be 11/26 for you.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay then. Um, So yeah, we basically put a lot of thought and talk into this album, and tell me what you think once you get once you get it. And I'd like to see pictures of your deluxe edition once you get it.
Yeah, definitely. I will send it over. I get the green vinyl, which is pressed in thousand copies, and there's another one for Century Media that's only 500. And
Oh,
there's a
nice.
lot of different vinyls.
Wow,
It's kind of and Walmart, I believe, has our own color, and there's a red one that comes with the super deluxe.
interesting.
And yeah, so they have really put a lot of money into this release. So there's a lot of ways of emptying your wallet on this
Well, I
album.
basically went for the cheap version, $16 American.
Yeah, there's because the deluxe edition has the instrumental, purely instrumental
Oh,
version of the
nice.
whole album, and like
Ah,
the demos or stuff. So it probably comes on YouTube, or it's on YouTube, so you can check it out if you wanted to get more depth into just the musical part of it. Maybe
right.
it'll change a view of some songs or not. I don't know yet. I'm looking forward to get it though, because the mail is a little slow, but
All
it
right.
must get here.
Hang in there. I'm sure you'll get it. But in any event,
Yeah.
it's been great talking about Jethro Tull Rock Flute. And again, Ove, you're my first guest for a review, so this was fun. Glad you
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
it's definitely not the last, that's for
Yep.
sure.
Okay.
And it's my first, I would like to say this is my first Jethro Tull album as a Jethro Tull fan, thanks to
Oh,
you.
cool. All right. Good to hear. And
So you
with
have
that,
got another Tull fan.
all right. Very cool. On that note, I'm going to uh, say goodnight at this time. Uh, have a good one, everybody. Please put your thoughts and your comments in the comment section. And I'd like to say thank Ove once again. Thank you, Ove.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you got it, my friend. With that, I will say goodnight to everybody. Over and out.